In 2020, the world was introduced to Hitori Goto, or better known as Bocchi. She's cute, a total goober, and everyone seems to relate to her. She is anxious, has trouble communicating with people, and has issues making friends. And her general awkwardness at everyone go, she's just like me, for real. And so she became the personification of socially stunted weeps all across the globe. But a generation of weeps before that, or rather 11 years prior, we had Tomoko to feel relatable to. Not like we wanted to, because unlike Bocchi, Tomoko embodies the worst of these traits, and instead she makes everything so much worse for herself. As she is a totally deranged gremlin. Released in 2013 and animated by Studio Silverlink, no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault that I'm not popular, or Watamote for short, is a slice-of-life comedy following the life of Tomoko Kuroki. And as that title implies, she's not a popular person, not at all. People hardly acknowledge she even exists, and she doesn't have much of a presence, and it is not helped by the fact she cannot communicate with people whatsoever. In her mind, she's the cutest, the hottest and the smartest girl in the entire class, so everyone should be groveling on their knees and worship her for her awesomeness. But as soon as she has to talk to someone, she gets super nervous and is unable to get as much of a word out and wants to run away and curl up and die. And so we get to see her daily struggle in life as she attends high school and tries to make something of her social stages and future. After all, she herself said she's lived over 50 lifetimes through high school and visual novels alone, so it should be easy for her, right? Turns out, no it's not. You know, I'll be honest here up front. When I went into rewatching this show, I expected to enjoy this a lot more. After all, I remember having a good time with it the last time I saw it, so I should have a great time rewatching this and talking about it for a video, no? Well, not really. It's complicated. I watched this show originally back when it aired in 2013, and I felt Tomoko was relatable to a certain degree. Not in everything she does, mind you, but a few things stuck out. Like being unable to properly connect to other kids, and yes, being jealous of the ones who I perceived to be successful and popular. And now, looking back at this show, yeah, she's still relatable in some of those ways. My childhood wasn't the greatest thing, and I didn't have many friends. Situations like the one of her being at the local McDonald's, Wackadonald's, when classmates enter, but she doesn't want to be seen alone because she might end up being laughed at and tries to avoid eye contact. Or her getting anxious for shopping for underwear, and she feels morally inadequate comparing her to other girls there. A scenario that is probably relatable for some people, including me. But at least I didn't make my situations worse, with cringy schemes to make myself look cooler. Okay, maybe I've tried out the cool and silent approach that she tries too, but that doesn't really work out no matter what I feel. However, I didn't try to get a date to see fireworks by talking loudly outside of the library on a turned-off phone, acting that I got stood up by my friend in order to get people to ask me to the fireworks out of pity. Or trying to impress my singular childhood friend by acting I was a big shot in high school by lying how everyone loved me. Something that Tomoko frequently does. None of those plans end up working out, by the way. They usually fail, and when they do, she usually ends up making things worse, by either lying more or running away crying, all played up for comedic effect. Some of these, yeah, they make me laugh, but half of these scenarios just make me feel bad for her if anything else. So, what else does she do? She hides herself at home, playing video games all the time, or just lazing around while she limits her social standing, a lector of. Not always though, as there are also times when she enjoys lazing around, before the inevitable realization sets in that she's just been wasting precious time of her teenage years. Tomoko, no, that's not what you use it for, put it down. I guess with that, it is also time to talk about the other vibrator in the room, and that is the fact that Tomoko is bogged down in the belief that one's personal value is linked to the sexual activity. As most of her reasons to get a boyfriend just boil down to get laid, even though she calls any girl with a boyfriend a slut or a bitch, and she's convinced they just sleep around with everyone. This is unfortunately also relatable to a certain degree. as the societal pressure of having sex or not is one of the things I also ran into at the time where I was... Wait, how old is Tomoko supposed to be? 15? Yeah, that sounds about right. People might get up in arms about protecting the kids, but 50-year-olds fuck around and find out a lot more than adults like to realize and accept. And if you happen to be one of the more shy and socially inept kids in the classroom, you will get bullied for not participating in these activities. It is a sad reality of society, and I'm inclined to believe that this mentality is still being perpetuated, but I cannot confirm that since my school days are long behind me. Sadly, this mentality of hers does not get fixed in the anime, and neither does her social ineptitude. And that might be the real reason why I now enjoy this anime less than back when I did, where things were more relatable. Tomoko's life is in the same position when the anime begins as when it ends. No personal growth of any kind really has been made, other than her being able to enjoy the class festival with her childhood friend, instead of being filled with utter despair at the festivities for once in her life. So maybe it is his diminished relatability alongside with the lack of character growth that made me enjoy this anime less this time around. Or is it that Bocce the Rock has spoiled me, as it does a much better job depicting someone with social anxiety, who actually grows as a person within a 12-episode season? I low-key hate that I keep comparing it to Bocce, by the way. I absolutely love that show, don't get me wrong, but this is supposed to be a Watamote video, but here I'm mentioning that all the time. Anyway, it doesn't mean that Watamote is a bad show per se. It's just hard to get a good slice of life story off the ground if your cast exists mainly of one character. It leaves us with a lot of downtime between the comedic and cringe-inducing moments, and a lot of time with Tomoko's thoughts. Whether she is doing nothing but playing arrow games, or thinking of kooky schemes to get more popular that always end up failing. And while the voice actor does a great job of narrating the little gremlin, the entertainment derived of this might be a hit or miss depending on the person. As I said, this is a show with not much other characters, as there are really only 3 other recurring characters that I need to talk about. Tomoko's mother, who just kinda puts up with her shenanigans and ignores whatever crazy shit she cooked up. We also have a brother, Tomoki, original naming from the parents here by the way, who doesn't really care about her at all, other than she mostly just annoys him. But to her credit, she actually tries to talk to him on occasions, to practice and get better at communicating with others. However, this usually just turns into her trying to act like she's more important than she really is, only ticking him off more and ultimately not achieving anything. And the last character is a childhood friend, Yu Naruse, who is the only person Tomoko can call a friend. She was a shy nerdy kid that always hung out with her, having a shared interest in anime like Tomoko, but much to her shock, Yu ended up becoming one of the popular kids Tomoko hates. She's cute, she has made friends in her new class, and she even has a boyfriend. She is the extrovert friend that Tomoko's introverted ass needs to be pulled out of this situation, and she still cares a lot for her, and they spend time together going to the movies or shopping for clothes. Because if she doesn't drag her out of the house, then no one will. However, as I said earlier, Tomoko's progress is next to nothing in the entire anime, but maybe it is in the manga that she eventually ends up being the lifeline she sorely needed, as that is still ongoing to this day. Talk about a slow burn on this one. It's reached over 200 chapters, and from what I gather the anime only covers the first 30, so I guess in the end the anime really is just a small sample of what the story is about. It is honestly interesting that the anime never got a second season, seeing just how much content there is left to this. But I guess much like its name, the show never was popular enough to gather enough of a fanbase for it to be worth adapting more of it. Which is honestly weird. I might have sounded negative about the anime, but don't get me wrong, it's honestly not a bad show. It doesn't look bad, sure, it's not the most amazing piece of animation to ever come out of Japan, but there are uglier anime out there for sure. The show has some pretty good visual gags for when Tomoko messes up her plans and realizes she's a failure. On top of that, it also has some good references to older anime that made me burst out laughing, such as the famous potato chip scene from Death Note. The Haruri and Keion parodies got a good giggle out of me as well, and it is really hitting me with a bunch of the anime classics if you pay enough attention. For some reason he also decided to reference Parasite and Terraformers in one of the episodes, while neither of these two would have an anime adaptation until a year later. Those most assuredly went over my head back when it originally aired, but they got me by surprise this time and had me laughing for quite a while. And when it comes to the music, the opening song has no reason to go as hard as it does for this kind of show, it's pretty wild. The ending song, however, is just Tomoko herself singing about how much of a failure she is. It's some sort of a weird self-loathing depression anthem. There were 4 other endings that get used once, including one of them that's being sung by Hatsune Miku, which actually had me laughing. as it is Miku heavy metal screaming over a scene where Tomoko is watching people do the deed in a love hotel. It is a weird combination of things going on, and that just makes it hilarious in a moment. The background music, however, is mostly just there and doesn't really stand out all that much, other than that one song that just sounds like a bunch of kids shouting. I guess they must be laughing at Tomoko's incompetence, at least that's the mental image I get with it. But I have to wonder, if the show would have been released nowadays, would it be more of a success? Seeing how the equally socially inept bocce blew up and became everyone's anxiety-given anime form, maybe people would also flock to Tomoko. That is, however, something we're probably never going to find out. And it might just be that the Watamote anime was ahead of its time, and the audience for it simply wasn't there yet. If for some reason it happened to get a remake now, which isn't entirely out of the realm of possibilities, would it even work, or is it too late? As everyone has already claimed bocce as a socially awkward spirit animal, and I'm not sure if there's enough space for another girl failure in the spotlight. But in the end, would I recommend Watamote? While I might have sounded somewhat negative at the beginning of the video, I still would recommend the show. It still got some good laughs out of me, and while the relatability might vary per viewer, it still was a decent picture of socially anxious people. Even if it is all played up for laughs. I might have mostly grown out of feeling relatable to Tomoko. Only some social awkwardness is still left when talking to people I don't know, but I'd rather avoid this altogether. But there are some things that I once related to it that are not applicable anymore. I also think just growing up does it to a person. But if anything, it just makes Tomoko seem all the more pathetic, and I just want to give her a hug. Because she sorely needs it. After she has taken a shower that is, she do be kinda stinky. But hey, if she gets some proper sleep, gets rid of those bags under her eyes, brushes her hair, and doesn't act like a gooby goblin all the time, she can be kinda cute. And even if she doesn't, she'll eventually grow out of these things in due time like most of us have. And I'm sure that down the line, she probably has a perfectly fine life, with a boyfriend. Or girlfriend even. Hell, she really seems to want to grope her friend's boobs and ass in the later episodes. Plus I've read online that the manga has turned into some sort of Yuri harem now. I'm not entirely sure what is up with this and if this is true, but okay then. I guess I have to catch up with something. I must admit though, I had a rough time making a video. Cause when I was done watching the anime, I didn't really feel much to say about it. But looking at the time now, it's been about 12 minutes of me rambling, so maybe it did work out in the end. I just hope that my thoughts and opinions are coherent enough for people to understand, and that maybe some people enjoyed it. But that about wraps up this video. I am Mina Masora, and I thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time.